I got my iced coffee, I got my books, and I'm ready to film my January wrap-up for all of you. So this month, let's start with some stats because I know on BookTube we like stats. I read 5.5 books this month. I read 2 3-star books, 2 4-star books, 1 5-star book, and the other one that I started, and I know I'm not going to finish this month. We have yet to see. Let's start off with the first read. I read The Cricket on the Hearth by Charles Dickens, and this was one of my 3-star books. It was really nice. I enjoyed it, but I don't know, I just wasn't so blown away by it. Like, his writing was amazing, it was awesome, but I wasn't following the story quite well. I was just confused, and I didn't think it was one of his greatest works ever, but of course I can't not enjoy a story written by Charles Dickens. It was only 3-star for me, unfortunately. I was just kind of bored by it sometimes. I wasn't, understanding that much by it, but yeah. Anyways, 3 stars. We'll read it again someday. So my second read of the month, I was actually reading also to my daughter while trying to put her down for a nap, is Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. It was one of my 4-star books for this month. I really loved it. I loved it so much. Just the whole following Pajama and following Gabriel and all the conflict. The conflict was real. The conflict was so frustrating. It was so sad at some points. You see the blue tabs? That's like things that made me sad or things that I disliked. Pink is things that I loved, and there's a lot of things that I loved. I loved Gabriel. I thought he was amazing. Also, it kind of differs from the movie. It actually differs a lot from the movie, especially when it comes to Mr. Baldwood's character. It differs a lot. Like, I feel the movie didn't get that into his character, which kind of disappoints me after reading this book. I have a much more complicated relationship with Mr. Baldwood, and I can't tell if, like, I love him and I'm so emphatic towards him, or if I'm just, like, kind of confused and want to withdraw myself from his character because I'm just a little concerned. But yeah, there's so much going on in this. I felt like I was really immersed in the story. There was so much to follow. It was colorful, it was full and satisfying, but not, and infuriating, but so captivating, and I just loved it. I loved it. I didn't love the main character though. I mean, like, she wasn't flat, and she wasn't boring, and she wasn't, right? I just didn't love her decisions. I didn't love her, what she, wanted. I honest to goodness, if I had to say, I would think that those men deserved someone much better to fall in love with, because I don't know, I just thought it was so sad how they were treated. So, yeah. The third book that I read this month is Behind the Red Door by Megan Collins. I never heard about this before, and nor has anyone else I know heard about it. My mom went to the bookstore actually, and she just wanted to pick up a random book that she read the synopsis to and thought that I would like. So she gave it to me for Christmas. There's a lot of blue tabs, which is things I disliked or things that like made me sad, but I think all of these blue tabs are things that I thought could have been done better. I thought was kind of a screw up in the writing, and I didn't like about the story or the writing. Most of it was the writing though. I have a lot to say about this book. This book was 3 stars for me. It was a solid 3 stars because it was so entertaining. It was riveting. I was sitting down and I was flipping pages like you wouldn't believe. But this is the most predictable book that ever was. Well, I can't say ever was because I haven't read every book in the world, but out of all the many books I've read in my whole entire life, This is the most predictable book I have ever sat down to read. I don't want to spoil it, but I think I could make a whole video talking about how predictable this was. By the second chapter, I had reached the very beginning of the second chapter, and I was like, I think I know how this all turns out. I think I've just predicted the whole plot, the whole everything. And that was very disappointing because it turns out that I did. And if you read the first 2 chapters, I am 100% certain that you will understand. Now, the reason I gave it 3 stars instead of like 2 stars was, 1, because it was very thrilling nonetheless, even though it was predictable, which I think is somehow a huge accomplishment on the author's part. After making it predictable, making it super thrilling, that I page turn like crazy. And number 2, there is like an extra ending that I did not see coming. I was like, whoa, there is a plot twist. What? But it wasn't a huge ending. It was just kind of like, oh, an extra ending, you know? But the big ending was the predictable one, which made it so disappointing. And I was contemplating giving it 2.5, but you can't do that on Goodreads, so I just rounded it up to 3. But I guess I could just say I give it 2.5 stars. Whatever. 2.5, 3 stars. You get the idea. The 4th book I read this month was a book my friend gave me, my best friend Liz, for Christmas, and that is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. Can you guess it? Can you guess it? Yes, you can. This was my 5-star read of the month. This is such an important book. This right here, come on everybody, come on, look at this. This is so important. It's so important. It is so good. Pink is what I love. Something I absolutely loved. Something that happened that I'm like, oh, wow. And that was dramatic. Orange are quotes that I loved, that I thought are very important, that are very educational in some ways. Green is scenery, all that crap. But look at how much orange and pink there are. There is so many. Let me see if I can find something that's absolutely amazing. Here's a quote that I really did like. But you will never live if you are looking for the meaning of life. I get that. I get that so much. So if you don't know what this book is about, it's about Nora, our protagonist, who isn't, who just feels empty in her life. It's an empty life, and she just feels she's depressed. And she gets this chance. It's awesome. To go through this midnight library. And each book she picks off the shelf is a totally different life that she could live due to some very minuscule, small choice that she made differently in another life, in another world. And it's so cool. It's so cool. And so she gets to go and live as many different lives as she wants to before her time is up in this midnight library. And oh my goodness, all the different lives she lived, she learned a new lesson. And the life it actually turned out to be, and the lesson of her life is, I think, a lesson that all of us need to learn, is so important. It was so beautiful. I loved Nora and her whole journey and all the characters, and if you somehow don't know about this book already, now you do. I think you should pick it up. Everyone should pick this up, I think. Because, wow, it was so good too. It was so good. It was such a good and beautiful adventure. 5 stars. 100%. The 5th book I read in the month of January was a very short read, and it was something my mom gave me for Christmas. I had watched the movie a while ago because I didn't really want to spend the money to buy the book, brand new, and I couldn't really find it in any used bookstores, but I just watched the movie because I couldn't wait. But the book, again, every book is so much better than the movie that, you know, was made after it. And that is The Boy in the Striped Pajamas by John Boyne. This was a 4-star read for me. Oh my goodness, it was so cute. I loved it so much. Bruno, little Bruno. What an innocent story. It's so innocent, and the questions that little Bruno poses in his circumstance, if you don't know, he's in the middle of World War II. His father's a commandant, a Nazi commandant, and they move to a concentration camp. And he doesn't know about concentration camps, he doesn't know what's going on. He's only like 9 years old in the book. 9 years old in the book. And he's wanting to know what all these people in the striped pajamas are. Makes a friend with one of the little boys in the concentration camp, and his family, you know, doesn't know about it, because if they did, you know, this is World War II, World War II, Nazi Germany. So yeah, it was so sad. It was, you know, you really see the lesson that his family and anyone with that mindset of the Nazis could have learned just from this beautiful, beautiful, innocent story. So, yeah. And currently, right now, the last book I picked up in January, which I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to finish, that is Pickwick Papers by Charles Dickens. I'm really enjoying this. It is so fun, but so far, I do have one complaint. And you will see it in a reading vlog and my February wrap-up, because I'm going to be reading this in through February for sure. Anyways guys, that was my whole January wrap-up, all the books I read in January. I think it was pretty good for being a mom who's writing a book, writing a short story, enrolled in English literature, and a mom of not even a 3-month-old yet. She's not even 3 months old yet. She's 3 months old on February 15th. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you met with books you've never heard of before, because there's one in there that I never heard of before, and I hope maybe that you got reminded of a book that you maybe wanted to read, and I hope my reviews give you some kind of insight, and so you take something away from this. Yeah, anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.